Hey besties, let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Well, the reunion is over. Quad and Simone got some resolve. Heavenly and Contessa got some resolve. Shoot, even Greg and Quad had some resolve, but not Greg and King. This cast, these people, it's time for a recast. It's time for a shakeup. It's time to revamp this cast. This season went downhill. It did Love and Hip Hop. They even compared it to Baddies. I don't watch that, but there needs to be something. You know, Dr. Jackie can go. You know, Quad and King can go. But is it Quad's show or is it Jackie and Simone's show? Heavily may need to go. A lot of people don't like Dr. Damon anymore. Ugh. A lot of people don't like Gregory because they call him, you know, a domestic V person, a DV person, you know. A lot of people don't like Sweet Tea. A lot of people don't like Quad. A lot of people don't like Dr. Jackie. A lot of people don't like Heavenly. There needs to be a shakeup. I understand Dr. Mimi is here, but who is she here to replace? Who is she here? Who are her and Steve here to replace? Let's get into it. Welcome, besties. You are now behind the shade, and thanks for joining me. I recap your favorite reality shows weekly. Now let's kiki and haha and get into another episode of Married to Medicine. It's season 11, episode 18, Reunion Part 3. Besties, how would you rate this season 11? How would you rate it? We had some drama. We had some going low. We had some almost fights, charges, court. We had people, exes fighting on the beach. We had new people. We got dating. We got a cast member that left and walked on to another platform. Honey, you should have took Quad with you because she is not married to medicine. She's not married, and King is not into medicine. She could go on over there with Portia now because King then got is suspended. Quad could go over there and take her place. Child, I rate this season was entertaining, but it was low. Dr. Heavenly, it was low. Dr. Damon, Dr. Quad, y'all know, y'all know. I am seeing Dr. Jackie. Why is she even here? Like she had one question and she pled the fifth. I plead the fifth. You know, no, you don't get to plead the fifth on the reunion stage, honey. You was talking about people not looking good. They cornbread was sagging and not in the right places. Who were you speaking about? You know, Contessa returned, you know, her husband rapping, Greg singing. Let's get into it. You drop down the comments, bestie, and let me know what you thought about the reunion, the whole reunion, the season. Drop down in the comments. Please make sure to like the video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and you share it with your friends and family. Share it. Make sure your notification bell is on, ding dong, so that you know each and every time I post my content. So we know that the part 3 starts off where Simone and Quad are fighting, getting ready to fight backstage. Simone's telling Quad that this is her karma. Quad says, you know, she's talking about her daddy and said, yo, MF and daddy. That got Simone amplified. That got her activated. And you can't be in no squabble and bring up people's parents. Simone was about it. Simone was about it. The way she was moving that head, that bob was just swinging. I think Simone would have took Quad's butt down. You bringing up my daddy? You gonna say my MFing daddy? Oh yeah, you want to get stomped into the ground. Jackie had to snatch Simone out that dressing room and take her to another one down the hall. Sweet Tea's following behind her little gumpy self. And Toya is telling Quad, well, at least she told you how she felt. She wasn't running around, so Toya is telling Quad, you wasn't around, Quad, and they befriended Sweet Tea. That's it. That's all. And so Quad is like, we wasn't talking then. All she had to do was talk to me. Well, you just said y'all wasn't talking. You had, you was mad about one thing. Then you added on another thing. And then you went to another thing. Simone couldn't keep up with you. And she decided that she was not going to apologize for Napa. She didn't feel like she was in the wrong. And that's what you wanted to hold her accountable for. So y'all didn't move forward. So you wanted her to call you when y'all wasn't talking. That's not how that works. So, yeah. What's going on, Quad? So Mimi is telling her, this is a part of your healing. You remember onward and upward. Who I hope Mimi is getting a second check because she's not a cast, she's a friend of, and she got patience on this show. She over there, she's working with Heavenly for real, and now she's over here pouring into Quad again. Because the first time was at Key West. So Jackie kicked Sweet Tea out of the room because she needs to calm Simone down. And baby, that vein was popped. She's like, I need some time. I need a minute. You got to get out. I need a minute. And I don't know if I believe Jackie doesn't like Sweet Tea because remember last season when Sweet Tea tried to cuss her out? I think there's something there, and so Jackie tried to talk to her homegirl. Her and Simone are the real friends. And she like, you gotta go. Like for real, you gotta go. So on stage, they're asking Greg, why did he feel the need to tell King that Quad talks too much? So, they running the tape back. So Greg is like, well, it was stupid on my part. I was drunk. And so Steve says, 3 fights have broke out on that beach. And so Eugene was like, yeah, we was only on that beach for 22 minutes. All that drama happened within 22 minutes. Can you believe that? The whole Phaedra and Apollo's wife and Apollo mad at Check and Check running behind King so he don't beat up Greg and Quad running and then Sweet Tea crying and child. It was a lot going on that beach, baby. So Andy asked, who would have won the fight between Greg and King? Excuse me, besties. I just ate. Excuse me. Okay. And so Greg was like, well, he's twice my size and half my age. Okay, so King would have won. And so then Greg says, well, with the help of Sweet Tea, they would win the fight, And then Eugene's like, yeah, because she got that combat training from the service. So, yeah, she could have helped you beat him up. And Sweet Tea is not scared of King. Not at all, honey. She going to defend her man. So they address their on-camera argument between Sweet Tea and Greg. And so Greg says he regrets the way he's talked to Sweet Tea. And King said, but that's your way. You are aggressive towards women. It's like, okay. And King said, I had to set my boundaries so that you can't address Quad like that. King said Greg pressing charges was very laughable, and he actually called down to the police department, and they told King that there was nothing to press and stop wasting their time. Boom. Greg and King having a back and forth because Greg was like, I could press charges because you started it, she started it. Da, 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 da. So Greg can't move forward with King because he feels like King has a tarnished opinion of him, coming from Quad. King said he came into this group open-minded. He came to kick it, meet the guys, meet the fellas. He just didn't like how G talked to Quad. So Curtis brings up that Greg did apologize to King, but King wanted him to apologize to Quad. So Greg says, well, yeah, I needed someone to explain to me why I should apologize to her, but she should not be issuing an apology to me, right? So Keena's like, well, she didn't disrespect you. She was going back and forth with Sweet Tea. Eugene explains that being a man, you should take the high road when your woman is getting into it with another woman. You don't interject. Okay. Greg said that it needed to be said. And they're like, oh man, like you just don't get it. And they're like, nah, man. Eugene is like, you had a hard time that night. And Greg was like, no, I didn't. And Eugene was like, well, I would have had a hard time too, and I wish Eugene would have explained why he would have had a hard time being there with his ex and her new dude, and she drunk talking crap. I wish he would have, painted the picture so Greg could go, oh, okay, yeah. And so he's like, yeah, King walking around with no shirt on, muscles, looking good, everybody think he fine, he young and sexy, and so he understands how Greg felt, but Greg denies that he was having a hard time. Oh, okay. Because didn't Greg turn around and say that something had happened before he got there, so he was already on edge? And so what I read is that Sweet Tea said it on her channel that he had an altercation with the patient. I think one of his patients hit him in the nose. And so he didn't like the way the hospital was handling his situation. So he was already on guard. And I'm like, oh no, that can't, what happened? He over there talking crazy to people. What happened, Greg? Why did you get hit at work? I'm not laughing, I swear. Stop laughing. Stop. I'm not laughing. Stop laughing. Okay. So Cecil's like, man, you got to accept what people are telling you. So they take a break, 10 minutes. The men go backstage. Because mind you, while they're talking, they don't know what was happening backstage. So everybody's telling them, heavily, Toya, they like, it was a fight. Child, Quad and Simone was about to get it knocking. They was knucking if you buck, talking about her daddy. Talking about karma. So Eugene is like, okay, so no progress is made on stage or backstage, right? So Cecil says, season 11, it's been 11 seasons in, and these women still don't know how to act. So back on stage, everybody's on stage. So Andy addresses what happened backstage. Simone says she is tired of Quad blaming them for everything. She's like, if she keeps secrets, and she don't trust us. So what is wrong with moving on with or without her? And I agree. We got to move on, girl. You stop talking to us. You got on with Sister Circle. Remember, Quad don't fool with them off camera. Remember when Simone said when the Quad was saying, I came down there to help you find your daddy. And remember when Simone said you only show up when the cameras are there. So remember, Quad was not fooling with them. She treats them like coworkers. Ever since she had got onto Sister Circle, she cut them all off. Then when that show ended, she want to come back like, hi, y'all remember me? Hi. So yeah, Simone is tired of you. They're all tired of you. Okay. So Quad and Simone, they go back and forth and back again. And so they're like, and they talking about this ushering Greg in or not. We didn't usher him in. Yeah, ushered him in. We didn't usher him in. He was already here. Y'all divorced. He came back with a new wife. He's married to medicine. He has a right to be here, honey. He ushered himself in. Him and Sweet Tea ushered themselves right in back to their spot. Just like you, Quad. So Simone says Cecil and Greg has been friends all this time. So don't act like he had to usher nothing. They all been cool, right? So Quad is like, well, y'all was trying to get back at me. And so Quad says she don't know where her and Simone went wrong over these last 10 years. And so she said, well, that's what she did last year because she was harboring these old feelings. You've been harboring all these feelings for the last 9 years, Quad. So Simone says she threw in the towel and she says she's done. You done? I'm done. So Andy tells her to say, I accept what Quad is saying. And so she says, I accept. Okay. So then Heavenly sincerely wants to apologize to Contessa. She's like, I'm sorry, sis. We got to get this together. I don't mean no harm. I got to get it together. I'm trying to. So clearly, therapy with Dr. Mimi is really working on Heavenly. And we will see her again later in this show where she can't even get her thoughts together because the old her is fighting the new her. And she even asked Dr. Mimi to help her complete her thoughts because she couldn't even get it together. So we see Heavenly is a work in progress, and she needs to be because she really is a threat to the show. Like, it is about time for her to pack up and get out of here. And then Dr. Damon acting up too. Like, it's like, y'all both can hit the road. Maybe Dr. Mimi and Steve are going to take their place. Okay, so Contessa accepts Heavenly's apology. I'm not sure how Scott felt about that. So a viewer asked, when is King gonna put a ring on it? And so here go Quad Child, my baby's so fine, huh? He's so fine. And so she let us know there's no pressure. They're enjoying getting to know each other and enjoying each other's company. And she was like, I'm a size 6. Or I think he said she's a size 6. And then, they're enjoying each other and they enjoyed each other that morning. Thank you, Quad and King, for letting us know you guys are working on your 15 a week. Thank you. So now back to Key West in this vibe check game that went so left. And the whole you got a big mouth. So Toya says Quad wanted to get back at Greg and Sweet Tea, and that's where that fight on the beach happened. So Damon says he's on King's side, blah blah blah, because in his, what he said last week, I believe, he pretty much told Greg that he was a coward. And I liked how Eugene had to put his 2 cents in and to say, you got to be careful with your wordplay because certain words will touch people. I can't say the TR word, the TRIGGERED word, but that may have penetrated. No, that's not a good word. That has done something to Greg, hearing that you're calling him a coward. So you got to be careful with your words. But Damon is on King's side. He like, we don't call the cops. What are you doing? You calling the cops. And remember, Simone already chalked it up to this is a fractured group. So a viewer asks, what kind of vibes are happening to have the adult activities 15 times in a week? Quad was like, well, he makes me feel good as a woman. There's happy vibes, there's good vibes. I feel appreciated. He's amazing. Okay, he is king, honey. And did you guys know his first name is Kirk? His last name is King. And she calls him by his last name. So Curtis said that he and Dr. Jackie, during the vibe check, they were 0.5 times having the and now they're up to once a week, and that's very good. So a viewer asked Quad, where it's Quad drunk, and letting loose. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Quad is like, well, I wasn't trying to trash Gregory. I was celebrating my man. And it's like, Quad, it is hard for this woman to be wrong. It is so hard for her to hold herself accountable. So Andy was like, well, Quad, it seems like you and Greg have unresolved issues. And Sweet Tea and King are kind of caught in the middle. And so, you know, Sweet Tea and Gregory agreed. He was like, agreed? They agreed. Quad didn't agree at all. Andy says, anything you want to say, Quad? And so she was like, he had other things going on. No, anything you want to say, Quad? I don't even know. Did she say something? Oh, no, maybe he's saying Greg. Okay. I wrote the wrong name wrong. Quad didn't agree. So Andy's asking Greg, anything you want to say to Quad? Got it. Anything you want to say to Quad? And so he was saying how he had other things going on and he was already angry when he got there. So that is pertaining to the incident that happened at his job. Okay, he didn't like that. He got into an altercation with a patient, and he didn't like the way the hospital was taking care of this. Makes you wonder: was the patient Caucasian? What was going on here? Why are you not treating the doctor right? And so he apologizes to Quad. Uh huh. Uh huh. And Quad accepted. Wow. Whew, we had to go all the seasons, no, all the episodes, and into the last season, part 3, they got to chop it up and they are okay now. Whew. So Andy's like, Quad, you want to add something? Toya gonna bust out and say, I'm uncomfortable. And they like, oh, you stay starting mess. And I do not understand why they are blaming Toya for this mess. It's Heavenly's fault for bringing this game up. What are you talking about? We were uncomfortable. These people are uncomfortable now. They were uncomfortable at the vibe check game. It was uncomfortable. Why is she messy? Because she pointed that out. Besties, drop down in the comments and let me know. So she somebody's okay, so Toya stated the facts. It was uncomfortable to sit there and listen to all that hoopla ha. I'ma have your baby shower because I'm down with the lights fired. Just like, will you be quiet? And all this, I'ma blame it on King. Because all he had to do was say, babe, shh, hush, stop, let it go. Remember, we're supposed to move forward, onward and upward. You're acting less than demure. Get it together. You're acting real classless. I blame this all on King. So Heavenly was the one that was being messy per usual. Start with them questions and them games, and hey, they said Qua was throwing them rum drinks back, honey. So Qua says when she speaks highly of King, she is not taking shots at Gregory. But she said, but I can't, coddle his emotions. I can't do that. I'm going to talk about my King. So CT going to say, that's cool. That's fair. Just stop mentioning my husband. Quan going to say, he wasn't mentioned. That's the point. He wasn't mentioned. Greg was like, you said you left me and all this. You took my sleep number bed and all this stuff. And Quad was like, no, your wife said you wanted out of our marriage. And I said, no, I left. I filed. If she wouldn't have said that, I wouldn't have said anything about you. Greg was like, okay, let's okay. Whew. So Andy asked Quad, what are your thoughts on Greg pressing charges? Oh, he was being vindictive. It was his ego being bruised. He wanted to one up us and get us out of the group, kick us off the show. He thought he was replacing me, but nope, I'm here. Me and King. And so I'm like, yep. And Dr. Gregory thought his homies, Cecil, Eugene, and Curtis, was going, have his back. And they was like, they all went neutral. But Damon went on King's side, okay? So Damon explains the unwritten, understood movement that men make. And this is you defend your wife because, and no one is going to talk crazy to you. Keenan Quad tells Gregory that she didn't talk crazy to him. Gregory says, yes, I felt insulted. She didn't say nothing wrong. I felt insulted. She didn't say, she was just, I felt insulted. Meaning, you can't tell me how I didn't understand it. You said some things, and that's how it affected me. You can't take that from me. And you're not listening. You're being defensive. You're teaming up. You're teaming up, and you're not listening. And he had to keep saying, I felt insulted. So he you was talking about having a baby shower for us and all this and all that. And so Quad she said, I was proving that I'm not against you. Well, that was no way of doing it, honey. That's why King should have shutted her up. So the divorce. Greg is like, I gave you everything in the divorce. And she said, everything? What do you mean? No, you didn't. I had my own money. And he was like, yes, I did. I could have took some of your money, but I didn't. They going back and forth and back again. Quad was like, I helped you build your practice. He like, how you help me build my practice? And I'm like, yeah, Quad, how did you help him build his practice? What did you do? Because all we saw was you up at that house hollering at them two dogs that you used to color. They had hot pink, purple hair, outfits. You was doing a doggy fashion line. I never saw you down to the office answering not one phone, making no schedules, balancing no books, nothing. Going to get supplies. I didn't see you doing nothing. But in that house, pretending like you was trying to build an empire. Stop playing with that man's career. Cecil believes that you're supposed to speak up for your wife, but he doesn't believe your wife can just say some of anything to you. So Heavenly like, well, I don't agree with that, Cecil. And that's not my situation because Dr. Damon wouldn't, blah, 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 blah. So then Cecil agrees with her point, whatever it was she was trying to make. But Greg is entitled to the way he feels, right? So Sweet Tea says it's a double standard here. And so Heavenly says he shouldn't have talked to someone else's woman that the way that he did. And I guess that's what Cecil like. I agree with that. Toya tells Sweet Tea, like, you're used to having your husband talk to you aggressively, but they're not. I said, dang. She was like, no. See, girl, you're used to your husband talking to you all kind of crazy, but we're not used to that, honey. So then they discuss Gregory Sweet Tea and a hot mic argument. Eugene said everybody on this stage and everybody who's married has said something crazy in private to their spouse. And Heavenly, that's what Heavenly's like, not at my house. So then production had to run it back. There's a clip of them outside. I think that was outside of Simone's house. And he was straight checking Heavenly in her attitude and her mouth. Straight checking that broad. So Greg apologized to Sweet Tea in private. So he wanted to apologize again in public. So he gives her a very heartfelt apology. And of course, she accepts it. And he said he was in the heat of the moment, woo, woo, woo. So Sweet Tea says that, we gave y'all the real. Girl, stop it. We gave y'all the real. Girl, you was trying to shut him up because the cameras was in there. You was like, shh, stop it. Hush, stop it. They're here, like we're mic'd up. Stop it. The cameras are outside the door, but stop it. Hush. This is gonna be my mom and them gonna see this. Be quiet. Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie, they gonna see it. Stop. So King said, yeah, that's not normal behavior. Sweet Tea told him that wasn't for him to decide. I said, okay, girl, stand up for your man, your man, your man. And tell that woman's man that he need to be quiet. For she over to go over there and buckle him with that combat training. And so I said, she checked him. So Toya said when her and Eugene got like that, they went to therapy because they knew talking crazy to each other was not gonna be cool. It wasn't cool. And so she suggests that Sweet Tea and Greg go to counseling. So Sweet Tea said they are in therapy. We do, boo. Oh, you do? Okay, that's good. So Andy asked, can the four of them coexist? Sweet Tea and Greg says yes. Quad was like, wait a minute. I don't want me and King to be in a compromising position and it gets out of control. You the one got out of control, Quad. Ma'am, Greg don't even care to talk to you. Sweet Tea responds to you. You are the out of control in this equation of you four. That would be you, boo. Then Greg gets up to sing his hit song, honey, and everyone is like, oh no, oh please no, oh no. Simone is like cracking up. Andy is all into it. Sweet Tea is shimmying her shoulders and she rocking and a rolling because that's her man. Contessa said, oh no, it's worse in person. Quad is like, this is a bad idea. Andy over there laughing. And then when he got done, Contessa said, no more Married to Medicine performances. She talking about her husband, Greg, and whoever else. So then the men exit the stage and the ladies are there to hurry up and get things going and smooth some stuff out. So, whew, Mimi says Heavenly goes too far because they're asking her how was, her time on the show. She says, cool. She said, but we are working on her tone and her delivery. Andy brings up Contessa's style, her fashion, because they said she was dressed cheaply when they were on the Dude Ranch, and her cowboy outfit came from Party City, and I didn't think that there was wrong with what she had on. Her body was yada 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 yada, and so Heavenly couldn't stand it, can't stand none of her fashion, but Heavenly misses the mark a lot too, just like on the reunion stage. Do y'all know that choker is connected to her dress? It is not jewelry. That is a part of her dress. Heavenly, your hair is cute, your makeup is cute, but that dress is hideous. Like all your other fashions, hideous. Heavenly was struggling with responding because she's trying to change. She's stuttering. She can't get her words out. Sometimes my tongue won't let my words out. She could not get it out. She asked Dr. Mimi to help her because she trying to be a better person. And so I was like, Married to Medicine might be a better show next season now that Heavenly is trying to change. Simone says that, she talk about my fashions too. And so Dr. Heavenly was like, don't do that to me and to her. Me and Contessa are trying to get in a better place. Don't do all that. And so, because that was Andy trying to bring it up too. And so Andy brought up Dr. Jackie's comment about people having their cornbread falling in the wrong places. She said this on the Dude Ranch. And they were like, well, who are you talking about? And so Heavenly was like, well, it ain't me because I'd make hard put my cornbread where it go. So Dr. Jackie's like, I plead the fifth. No, Dr. Jackie, you cannot plead the fifth. We want to know where Curtis be at when he in the DR. Do you plead the fifth then? We want to know why you were so aggressive with Sweet Tea when Simone had crashed out. Are you going to plead the fifth for that too? You do a lot of pleading the fifth. And if you plead one more fifth, Dr. Jackie, you and Curtis need to leave. You can go. No. What does Meredith say? You can leave. Quad said, honey, not her pretty brown round. Andy got such a kick out of that. Pretty brown round. Oh, really? Honey, Quad said her cornbread is on her hips and her behind, baby. Pretty brown round. Then on to Toya and her stormy Hermes bag. Her son says it's her whole personality. They're asking if she set a good example for him. She says they are just alike. They can really be over the top. Yes, you can, Toya. Toya, then they talked about how Toya was calling Jackie boring. And she was like, no, I didn't think I didn't say that. Now here she go backtrack it. I didn't say Dr. Jackie was boring. I just said, I'm a lot of fun. Ha 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 ha. Nobody else is laughing. So then Andy wants to play a game of who said it. And child, every who said it, every quote, every phrase was from Dr. Heavenly. She said it all. Dr. Heavenly said, Andy, stop. Because I'm trying to do better. You're going to stop. She told her boss, no, don't do me. Don't do me. You trying to start some mess. It's the end of part 3. We ain't going out like this. I'm trying to make it to season 12. That's what Heavenly was thinking. I'm trying to make it to season 12. You're going to stop, Andy. We all didn't apologize except for Greg and King. We kumbaya. We trying to get to season 12 in a happier space. She's in therapy. Don't do her. And I already see a change. So thank you, Dr. Mimi. Clap it up for Dr. Mimi, child. She gonna heal Dr. Heavenly. So then they close by saying nice things to one another. I ain't gonna get into what was said. You gotta watch it. You already know. In doing so, Sweet Tea and Heavenly shared pleasantries. Then Sweet Tea and Quad did the same thing. They even discussed that they may, collaborate, and they think they have more things in common with this IVF journey, and maybe they can assist each other and support one another. I was like, what? Say what? Say what? I'm going to leave that alone. That was cute. Okay. The contestant Heavenly, they shared their pleasantries, which was great. They all had to say something nice about each other, And so Mimi says she is excited about being with these ladies. And she said because they can reconcile, and that is growth and maturity. And that concluded season 11 of Married to Medicine. I'll give the whole season, whew, I'll give it a B minus. Yeah. The reunion was pretty good. I'll give did I say B minus? Don't I use numbers? Why am I using letters? So, okay, besties, how do I get the season? I said a B minus. So I guess I'll give the whole season, hey, it gets a 7. The reunion was pretty good. It was well put together for me. We got reconciliation, we got fighting, we got laughing, we got a song, we got the men going back and forth. They had the stage to themselves. I kind of liked it. I'll give the reunion an 8, an 8.5. The season will get a 7, and the reunion will get an 8.5. You let me know what you think, besties. And I'll be back with another recap. Bye, besties.